Graveyard Show. It's me, Spooky Steve. I've got another video for you. Tonight we're going to be talking about another film. This is a good one, or it might not be. It's kind of in the middle. I don't know. Let's discuss. This film is from 1992. It is called Highway to Hell. It stars Rob Lowe's little brother, Chad Lowe, Christy Swanson. It's directed by At De Jong? I don't know. He's from the Netherlands. He's a Dutch producer, writer, director. He's done a bunch of things, mostly foreign. He did this film in 1992, and he also did another fantastic film right afterwards, right before, I can't remember which one, but it's called Drop Dead Fred. And if you haven't seen that movie, go check that one out. But first, check this one out if you haven't seen it, and we will discuss.
Join us on a dazzling cinematic adventure down the highway to hell. A winding route that stretches from here to eternity.
Not Kansas anymore.
Discover the warm, energetic, inventive, and friendly inhabitants of hell.
Alright, now before the spoilers, let's talk about this film. This film is about a couple, a young couple. They're gonna elope, right? They're in love. They're, I don't know, Oklahoma, Arizona, I don't know. It's nighttime, and they're driving in a Ford Pinto, and apparently he's a pizza driver. I don't know, pizza delivery driver, I should say. Yes? Yeah. Now, so they, are bouncing out of the house. They're eating at some place. They're having a hamburger. He's wearing a 49ers hat, right? Go Niners! But, they decide to leave, and then they split off. They go down. Now they're, I don't know, somewhere around the House of a Thousand Corpses place, right, where they run into Captain Spaulding's, right? But no, they run into, just a normal little, fuel station in the night times, in the creepy times. And then there's this old gentleman, and so on and so forth. They go to hell because she gets stolen, and then he's got to find her and, live happily ever after, or not. And that's the film.
Can you tell me the quickest way to hell?
Sex, drugs, rock and roll.
Yeah, so let's scooch back. They end up at the gas station. Now, this old man, he's very nice, he's very lonely, and, he's like, hey, where are you going? What are you doing? Are you going to Vegas? $8 for gas? The information is free. And, he's like, yeah, no, yeah. And so he's like, you should go on the main highway, because that one's a lot more safe, right? And he doesn't know, and he doesn't tell him. You'd think he'd give him a heads up. He really doesn't. He said there's 2 Joshua trees. He's like, make sure you don't stop in between those to take a nap. Because if you do, And he's like, yeah, whatever, I don't know, yeah. And he gets in the car, right? Doesn't start. Christy Swanson gets out. She's like, I dig Homac. So she's going to fix it, right? I don't know. She tightens a cap or 2. I don't know, wiggles a wire. Magically it starts up, right? Because that's how you fix it. And so, she gets in. They leave. He's like, oh, wait, I forgot to tell you something really important. And he's like, wait, hold on. And they just drive off into the night. They're driving. She falls asleep, Christy Swanson. Rob Lowe's little brother's driving. His dog, Ben, falls asleep. He's like, oh, great. Now I'm talking to myself. He dozes off, swirls, spins around in the road, right? There's a cop behind this billboard. Turns out, yeah, it's a cop from hell. Yeah, it's a Hellcop. And he's got, all this writing on his face, like Memento style with Guy Pearce. But it's not Guy Pearce. It's this other cat. Don't remember his name. It's not important right now. Yeah. So he rips the door off. He's super creepy. He's got these handcuffs that are zombie hands, and you can tell something's off with this guy, right? Not normal. And he rips the door off, takes Christy Swanson, throws her in the car, pushes Rob Lowe's brother down. He gets hurt, hits his head. He's out, right? The dog shows the dog laying there, so maybe the dog's dead. You find out later in 2 seconds that he's not, because he wakes up Chad Lowe after the hell guy, the Hellcop, takes her, he's got this weird car and fire and smoke, and then down the road, does that 3 times, boom, he's gone. Now, what does he do? He goes back to the fuel station to talk to the old man. And he's like, listen, what's happening? Why didn't you tell me? What's going on? I don't know. Right, when the old man explains everything, he's like, look, this is a gateway to hell. You're going to go to hell. You're going to save her, right? But you got to make sure, you get back, right? And I lost the love of my life. Shows a picture of her. She's beautiful. He's like, this Hellcop takes virgins, right? And they just disappear. But this is Mike. Colleen, I think is her name. He's like, she was the greatest, most beautiful woman in the world. She was the love of my life. She's gone forever, right? That's what happened. Hellcop took her. And she, used to make crafts and stuff. She crafts him a nice sawed-off shotgun with little, chrome silver seashells on it, because that's what you do. Yeah. And, so he's like, here, you're going to need this. You're going to need some shells. And then you're going to need this amazing car, right? And well, all right, there we go then. So now he's got everything he needs. Off to hell he goes.
Share with them their traditional crafts and delicious local cuisine.
Vegetarian bitch!
So once he gets to hell, you realize, well, let's take a pause. Because I was like, all right, this might be quite fun at this point. I mean, it starts off okay, right? Yeah, I'm anticipating a lot of good stuff to happen, especially when he goes to hell, right? Because you could picture, what's it going to be like in hell? He's going to hell, right, to try to save Christy Swanson, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Michelle Gellar, right? Sarah Michelle Gellar, should get that name right first, yeah? So you think, fire, brimstone, demons, darkness, evil. What is going on? It's going to be amazing. So he goes to hell. Turns out it's just like Breaking Bad. Yeah, it's just a desert with mountains, and it's all in the daytime. And, you're kind of like, wait, what? Okay, well, maybe it's going to get dark and spooky and creepy later. Spoilers, it doesn't. Yeah, so, I don't know that. Missed opportunity, I would say. I thought when I was watching the film, if it was at nighttime when they filmed just this, the same stuff, but dark, it would be way better. Yeah, definitely spookier, a little more atmospheric. I would personally enjoy that bit more. Maybe you would have too. Maybe like hell in the daytime. Yeah. So anyway, once they go there, the Hellcop, guess what the Hellcop does? First thing he does, excuse me, goes to a donut shop. That's right. And there's loads of cameos in this film because you realize right away the cook at the donut shop is Ben Stiller. Yeah. And then his dad, Jerry Stiller, is another cop. There's nothing but cops in here. And he's in there. All he wants is coffee. He can't get the coffee. So the bad devil demon Hellcop, right, locks Christy Swanson up with the zombie hands at the, it's like a diner at the counter. He gets, some coffee or whatnot. Some jostling goes on. Ben Stiller's making the food outside just like Mad Max. He's making eggs and steaks and ribs and bacon right on the sidewalk because it's hell and it's hot. Or it's Arizona or Oklahoma in the summer. I don't know. And it's just really hot and you can do that. I don't know. So then, Jerry Stiller can't get the coffee, right? So he's really, really jonesing for some coffee. He decides to go get the Hellcop's coffee. Now, Christy Swanson bounces. She's running out in the desert from the donut shop that's in hell. Right. Again, still, same movie, Highway to Hell. That's what it's about. So, out in hell, running away from the donut shop, the Hellcop starts to chase her, then comes up, Chad Lowe says, it's the Lost Boys from Hell, which, it kind of is. Here comes a gangly bunch of dorky kids, right, with a couple chicks with them. All of a sudden, and they're like, we're gonna get her. And she's like, no, let me go because he's mean. And like, the main guy, I don't know, you find out it's the devil's son later. Not a spoiler, because, kind of lame. Anyway, he's like, and then, the Hellcop comes, and then she's like, oh no, and the guy's got like a, Excalibur sword, and he's like, you owe me, Hellcop, if you take her away. And, he doesn't say anything. He's like, aha, you owe me one. Yeah, so then he takes her away. Again, Chad Lowe, he gets caught back up with them. They're fleeing, he's chasing. It's a cat and mouse movie, right, in hell. That's not like hell at all. But let's go back to that donut cop, whatever, diner area, because that's very much Beetlejuice afterlife, right?
And meet the individuals who have made hell the international hotspot it is today.
Because, it's got that vibe. There's like zombie, dead, just weird people, cops, obviously. But they're all just, very Beetlejuice-esque in that afterlife world. And then the lighting is also very Tim Burton. It's very Greek. Very, very much like it is here. Yeah, it's very nice. So I like that part, right? And then Ben Stiller, he says a bunch of funny things. Well, they're not really funny at all, but, that's what they're going for. And he doesn't like vegetarians. He says something like, you don't like meat. If you're vegetarian, we've got chicken. I guess, I don't know. So Chad Lowe's chasing him for the whole movie. Let's see. Not a whole lot happens that's really worth talking about. Let's see. There's some commercial where I think it's Harvey Weinstein. Or, no, it's not Harvey Weinstein. That one guy from Mrs. Doubtfire that does Robin Williams makeup. I don't remember his name. Real raspberry voice. But it's him when he's young, and he does this, River Styx beer commercial made from the River Styx. Well, he ends up going to the River Styx later, because he's still trying to get, Christy Swanson, right? Trying to save her. There's this one cat, because his car breaks down. And he goes and he calls, at the side of the road in hell, there's a place, you could call for roadside assistance. And he's like, oh, yeah, roadside assistance. So he calls him and he's like, what's wrong? And he tells him, and then, the guy on the other line's like, well, you better start walking. Ha, 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 ha. Real evil, right? Because then hell, that's about as evil as it gets. Some guy just making a wisecracky joke and then laughing. That's it. Well, then there's a dude that's towing his car and he's like, that's my car. Again, this isn't hell, right? Yeah. So the guy's towing his car and he's like, hey, what's going on? He's like, that's my car. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. What, he's like, it's broke down. He's like, oh, I can see that. I could fix it for you. And he's like, well, you'll do that for me? He's like, yeah, I sure will. Here's my little son. I can't remember his name. Andy, whatever, it doesn't matter. And there's a little boy, and the little boy's like, hey. And the whole time, Chad Lowe's got his dog Ben with him. And he's like, oh, the little boy and the dog can sit in the back, and then I'll give you a ride, and I'll fix everything. And he does. And you're like, well, okay, well, again, we're in hell. And he's like, he's like, I gotta go. Because the dude's like, oh, I fixed your car, let's go get a beer. He's like, I've got no time for that. I've got to go. I've got to get my old lady. Got to get back to the real world. And he's like, all right, listen, did you guys, get it on, right? And he's like, well, yeah, of course we did. We did it the old Pinto. And he's like, oh, great then. Then you got nothing to worry about because the devil's not going to want her and the Hellcop isn't going to want her either. And he's like, all right. So, boom, he's off again. Now he shows up right at, I don't know, it's a casino in hell. I mean, we're getting warmer, right? There's a couple ladies dancing with no clothes on. So there is, some of that in there, briefly, there's like a dude as well. That's about as, devil and evil as it gets. More cameos in this scene because Gilbert Godfrey plays Adolf Hitler. And then Ben Stiller's there again, and he plays, what's his name? I can't even remember. Genghis Khan, that's right. And then it's his sister. I can't remember her name. She's in it. She plays somebody. I don't know. There's some people that were in The Wizard of Oz.
I'm gonna scoop your brain!
Learn how a people steeped in tradition have made their city a thriving modern metropolis.
It's the cop from hell!
There's, a munchkin and, looking for Pol Pot, I believe. I don't know.
Paging Saddam Hussein.
Bastard! Down here, that's a compliment.
So, he's, trying to save Chrissy. She's in one of those, cage things where people are dancing, right? Boom, he's gonna save her. Then the Hellcop comes out of the bathroom, I guess. He shoots the Hellcop. Nothing happens. The Hellcop grabs the gun, shoots Chad Lowe right in the chest. Boom! He doesn't die right away. He's just bleeding, and the Hellcop gets her, Christy, and then they bounce again. They're going to Hell City to meet the devil. I don't know if I mentioned that part yet, but that's the whole plan for them. There comes the dude. I can't remember his name either. The guy that helped him before, Ballister? Something like that. And the little boy, and he's like, oh, I can fix anything, and, brings him, he wasn't dead, but, heals him. Now he's healed, and he's like, no, I gotta go again. He's like, oh, all right again, see you later. I'll just keep fixing you, and you just keep bouncing. Now he's back on the road, and before he leaves, the Ballister, whatever his name is like, listen, there's a shortcut there. It's called the Road to Nowhere. You go there, you'll beat him, you'll save her, boom, it's over. Everything's fantastic. He's like, all right, I'm doing it. So he goes off, then the weird lost boy kids start chasing him again. They're pretty pointless in this film. Actually, the whole film's kind of pointless, really. Yeah. Anyway, so he goes to the Road to Nowhere. They won't follow him, and then all of a sudden there's like a ton of, I don't know, Beetlebug cars, and it's like a Beetlebug gang, but it's also bumper cars. And I don't know what's going on at this point, and then they, let him go, and then he makes a left through a cave, almost flies off, a ledge into the Grand Canyon, but he stops, and it's somehow, I can't even remember at this point. He gets over there, there's some River Styx, but before that there's, these people, and there's a long line. It reminds me of Monty Python and the Holy Grail. It's next to a rock, and they gotta walk, and then, there's a guy holding a bunch of sheets, white sheets, and they put the sheets on kind of like ghosts, but they're not very long sheets, so it comes up to around the waist. Yeah. And they walk down, and there's this black gentleman who's got no eyes and is sewed shut.
Marvel at the unusual flora and fauna.
Once you have crossed, there is no way back.
And he's still got his dog, and then there's these, some claymation with like this three-faced beast dog. And, his dog pees and distracts him, so Chad Lowe goes around. And then he gets on the river Styx, and the black guy's like, listen, if you go, you never come back. And he's like, and you gotta be dead to go. And he's like, well, look, my girlfriend's over there, and she's not dead. And he's like, oh, yeah, I guess you're right. Okay, then. So he goes on the river Styx, and you're like, okay, maybe, what's going on now? Now, there he goes. He's back. He's on land now in this cave. He decides to, go through, and then, I don't know, Colleen, Sam, the old guy that gave him the gun in the car at the beginning, she shows up on the bike, and she's like, don't go down here because and maybe I got this backwards, maybe one part's before the other. At this point, again, this movie, it doesn't matter. It's the same thing. So she's like, no, you'll get lost forever if you choose wrongly. And he's like, well, she needs me. And then Colleen's like, maybe she doesn't. And he's like, but she does. And then Colleen's like, well, maybe she doesn't. And then he's like, well, maybe she does. And she's like, well, got me on that one. I don't know what to come back with. So then, he takes a couple steps forward, and then all of a sudden, bam, a door going into a rock. He opens that door, and guess what you see? A staircase. Yes. So he goes up the staircase, and there's like clothes on it, so it's like, what's going on up here? Well, he gets up there. It's a hallway, multiple doors. He takes the first one on the right, which, you do. He goes in. There's Christy Swanson. She's on a bed. There's a Hellcop who busts through, right? He fights him, shoots him with his own gun, kills him, he's dead. Perfect. Christy Swanson is just laying on the bed, and she's super horny. She wants it real bad. She keeps saying it over and over and over. And Chad Lowe's like, what is going on? What is wrong with you? Then he looks in the mirror, and here's another cameo. It's Whoopi Goldberg. I mean, come on. An early appearance. I mean, she's been in several films since it, Jumpin' Jack Flash before. I think Ghost was even before that. But, man, this is a pivotal role. If you've seen this movie, wow, Whoopi Goldberg kills it in this role, right?
Delight in the people's daily pursuits.
I'm a lover, not a fighter. Oh.
Chops her tail off, kills her, because, obviously it wasn't Christy Swanson to begin with, and he leaves. He ends up going to, some other place. That's all the detail you need on that. And, then there's Christy Swanson. She's playing the violin. Now, earlier, Christy Swanson seen a commercial, just like the River Styx beer commercial, where it's like this lady saying, like, you could have either this life and be with Rob Lowe's brother and, run a pizza place and have a baby and be sad, or you could be a violinist and be super happy. Yeah. So, again, now she's playing a violin in this, very, I don't know, Arabian-style room with a big bed, a bunch of pillows. So Chad Lowe's like, oh, hey. And then, she's like, oh, no, you ain't. And then he's like, wait a minute, you might be Whoopi Goldberg. But, no, she's not. And then the devil comes in. And, you're like, whoa, what's going on? That's the devil. Yeah, it's the devil. Yeah. And, typical actor portraying the devil. Yeah, whatever. And so he's like, I know everything. Fear, love. So they leave. He's like, go ahead. Whatever. Who cares? I don't care. Well, he does care because he, it turns out that he's the guy that fixed everything. Bannister, or whatever his name is.
I am the Prince of Princes.
We've heard that story before, haven't we?
Highway to Hell. An unforgettable journey from Sovereign Pictures.
Now we'll have some fun.
They leave, they bounce, they're getting out of there. The devil catches up with them because the little boy, he promised the little boy at this one point in time when it was like raining black liquid and it was dark nighttime for like a few minutes in that scene, but you could only see it on the outside, and then when it shows them again from the outside looking in, it's daytime again, and you're like, okay, what's going on here? I don't know. But anyway, so he goes back to get the kid, finds out that Bannister is the devil and they're both the same person. And then the little boy is like gonna, he's gonna raise him to be evil. Just, you find out the leader of the Lost Boys was the same way, but he's disappointed him, right? So now what he's doing is, he's going to tell him, like, look, I want her, she's mine, blah, 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 I want the boy, blah, 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 blah. But Chad Lowe's like, no, I'm taking her, I'm taking the boy, and I'm getting out of here. Going right back up to Earth, because I'm not dead, we're not dead, we're getting out. The devil's like, nope, not gonna do that, that little boy's mine. He's mine forever, no matter what. So he makes a deal, and he says, look, if I could beat the devil cop, or whatever, the hell cop, back to, that Joshua Tree portal to hell area, he's like, if I get that, then we could go fair and square. And the devil's like, no, I don't like it. And Christy Swanson like, well, you could take me. And he's like, oh, yeah, I like this. And he's like, you go with your own free will. And she's like, And he's like, I like it, deal. And basically that's it. They get into a car. The guy who was screaming, you know, what he meant was like there was some nitrous, you know, Fast and Furious style underneath the, you know, the old driver's seat. So, you know, there's a shotgun. The little boy says, you gotta shoot him in the eyes. That's how you kill him. She's looking for a shell. She sees the nitrous. She hits that. They're fighting and driving. And the devil's like, I'm gonna, you know, watch this because we're gonna win. And this is what it looks like with the devil smoking a cigar. Right? Everybody knows that. And, you know, they win. They get back. They make it. And I forgot to say, there's a cop, a regular cop who's there who tried to get him earlier. He's still waiting there. It looks like time stood still on Earth while he was in hell. Then the cop's like, and he, you know, puts a handcuff on him, and then the Hellcop flies through the billboard, and it's like, Chad Lowe can't get free. The cop's shooting the Hellcop. The Hellcop, you know, just punches that guy, throws him on the car. He's knocked out. Christy Swanson comes out with the shotgun. She finds a shell, bam, right in the face, hits him in the eyes, stumbles back. He dies. Day is saved. Little boy's back on Earth. He's got his old lady, and that's the end of the film. And now there is an epilogue, which is odd, you know, but typical for something like this, I guess, which kind of explains, like, they lived after, and they owned a pizza place, and the little boy went and lived with his uncle, and the dog, you know, became famous in, you know, dog food commercials. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Highway to Hell, 1992. Apte is the right address. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's probably wrong. Again, Netherlands, Dutch. It's probably Young or Young. I don't know. But that's what I got. Highway to Hell. I don't know. I would say, you know, it wasn't great. You know, you think, you know, it's kind of 80s style. I mean, it's got that cheesy factor. You know, kind of like, all right. But at the end of the day, after watching it, I don't know. It's fun to watch to make fun of, maybe, or, you know, maybe you love it. I don't know. I mean, it's got, you know, decent cast. Story's decent. I just think, you know, anything else would have looked more like hell, right? I mean, at least make it nighttime. That would be a little bit better. That's me. But other than that, you know, it's a 6 on IMDb, or IMDb. I would probably give it, I mean, I guess a 6 is generous. A 5. I mean, it's not terrible. It's not great. I wouldn't say it's even better than average. It's probably just average. You tell me what you think. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Have you seen it? Highway to Hell. I would recommend watching it because, you know, after all I've said, it is still kind of a fun movie. Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Got another amazing video coming up soon with the glowing ghoulies from Dawn Post Reproduction from Trick or Treat Studios. Yeah. Have a good night, everyone.